Hello, my name is Moana, and I'm from Hawaii. Please like and subscribe. Growing up, what I hated most was when my parents argued and yelled at each other. And it happened a lot. But there were some moments when we'd all laugh together. Like when I turned 3, Dad came home with the biggest unicorn doll for me, and Mom baked my favorite vanilla cake. It was the happiest day of my life.
Moana, you're the best thing that's ever happened. When you were born, our world changed.
Yes, darling. You mean everything to us.
Mom worked as a secretary at a big insurance company, and Dad worked at a local store. So we lived a pretty average life. But then one day, when I was 4, Mom came home driving her boss's expensive car and told Dad that she was leaving him. Please don't go, Mom. I love you.
Oh, my baby. Tell you what, you will visit me at my new house every weekend.
I watched Mom pack her bags and drive away. And Dad was so sad. He told me that he and Mom were now separated. Months later, he took me to visit her at her new fancy house, and she was sitting with her boss, carrying a new baby.
Moana, I'd like you to meet your baby sister, Luisa.
Luisa was the luckiest little baby because her dad bought her all the toys in the world. I liked going to their mansion, and Mom would be so happy every time I visited. But soon, Luisa started crying so hard for Mom's attention that it became difficult for us to spend any time together. Once, when I was 5 and Luisa was a toddler, Mom took us to the zoo and bought us both candy. But Luisa threw hers into the raccoon cage, and then she started crying hysterically for more. She even started pulling Mom's hair, and I gave her my candy so she'd calm down and give Mom a break.
Oh, Moana, thank you so much. You've always been such an understanding child. I hope your sister grows up to be just like you.
Thanks, Mom. I just want you to be happy. Since Mom had left, Dad always tried to hide his sadness and make me laugh with his jokes and dramatic bedtime stories. And I tried my best to always make him proud and happy, too. Once, in 2nd grade, Dad came to my school for a parent-teacher meeting, and my teacher, Sina, told him all sorts of nice things about me since I was the top student in her class.
Wow, I'm so proud of you, darling.
You should be. Moana is a very special little girl.
Right after the meeting, Dad invited Sina to come with us. For pizza. He looked really happy around her. And soon after, he started seeing her more often. And I didn't mind at all because she was very nice to me. Once, in 4th grade, we went to the skate park together, and Sina showed me how to skateboard.
Okay, I'm not letting go of your hand until you're strong on your feet.
I think I can skateboard on my own. Look! I let go of her grip and jumped up, feeling as if I were flying. And then suddenly my leg twisted and I fell down hard. I felt dizzy, and I saw Sina running towards me as I blacked out. I was rushed to the hospital, and my leg was put through so many scans and then bandaged up. Sina couldn't stop crying.
This is all my fault. I'm so sorry, Moana.
No, please don't blame yourself. I wanted to do that on my own. Dad hugged Sina to make her feel better, and just then, Mom barged in with Luisa.
How could you let this happen?
She started yelling at Dad, and they both got into a big argument, forgetting all about me. Guys, stop! Everyone looked at me, and then Luisa came closer to my bed, looking angry.
I had a big concert today. I was the lead. But now I'm here because Mom was worried about you. You ruined my concert.
Luisa, you can't speak to your sister like that. She just got injured.
Luisa pulled an ugly face at me, and just then, the doctor walked in with some bad news. He told my parents that my leg would never be normal again. I walked with a limp, and at school I couldn't participate in any sports. But I still remained the top student in the class, and everyone was so nice to me, since I'd never had trouble making friends. And I always helped them with their homework. One day when I was in 7th grade, Sina watched how I helped some kids understand a math equation, and she was so impressed.
Moana, you would make a really good teacher one day.
Yes, I would love to be a teacher one day, just like you, Sina. Sina really cared about me, and when I was in 8th grade, Dad told me that he wanted to marry her. I was so happy for them. Dad even invited Mom and her family. This was his way of finally making peace. Just before the event started, I found Luisa standing and glaring at the big wedding cake. What are you doing here alone?
Whatever I want. This cake looks so delicious.
Yes, it is, but don't stand too close. We don't want any accidents. She smirked at me, and then suddenly, she stuck her finger out and scooped the frosting off the cake. Hey, you can't do that. but she just laughed and reached for the cake again. I ran forward to pull her away as she tried to push me off. We both started wrestling and crashed straight into the cake. Just then, Mom and Dad appeared, looking speechless.
What have you girls done?
It wasn't me, Dad. Honest. Mom surprised me when she yelled at Luisa.
I'm so tired of your behavior, Luisa. Your father has spoiled you so much that everywhere you go, you ruin things. Moana was such a good child compared to you.
Well, maybe I should tell Dad to send you back to your poor family.
Both Dad and I were so shocked at the way Luisa spoke to Mom. And after the wedding, when I visited Mom again, I noticed that Luisa was awful to Mom all the time and bossed her around because her dad gave her the power to do so.
Mom, my Prada jacket still has a stain. Get it cleaned right now. I need it for school.
Okay, dear.
Why are you so mean to Mom?
Because she never does anything right. And if she doesn't listen, my dad will kick her out.
She's our mom. Don't you love her?
Well, she loves you more. So I guess I love my dad more.
When I tried to talk to Mom about what was going on in her life, she told me not to worry and said she could handle it. There wasn't much I could do to help her. One day in 10th grade, I was studying in the school library when a boy came out and sat on the table opposite to me. I knew exactly who he was. Maui! He was one of the hot, popular guys at school and was reading one of my all-time favorite books. My eyes kept wandering to him now and then, and I tried not to make it too obvious, but he was just so gorgeous. And while I sat zoned out in my fantasy, he suddenly started waving in my face.
Hey, are you okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't staring. I was actually,
It's okay. I'm used to it. That's why I sometimes come in here to hide away from the girls coming after me. My parents wanted me to be a model because of all the attention I get.
Yes, you're very good looking. Modeling would suit you.
I actually like books and reading. I don't like being in the spotlight.
I was so surprised because I always saw him surrounded by girls. I was never after him because he was way out of my league. But after meeting him in the library, we actually became good friends because we had so much in common. One day, he asked if I'd like to see the latest Disney movie with him, and I was so excited that another kid in school liked that kind of stuff. We even dressed up like the characters and had the time of our lives. I'm so happy to finally have a Moana partner.
Me too. You're such a cool person to hang out with.
He looked deep into my eyes, and then he leaned over and kissed me. I was so shocked because it all felt like a dream. And then I looked down at my leg and started doubting myself and wondering if any of this was real.
Hey, what's wrong?
Maui, you're like the hottest guy on this planet, and there's so many pretty girls without any issues like mine. So why me?
There's nothing wrong with you, Moana. You're perfect.
Maui liked me just as I was, and I learned to love myself with my brokenness. Life at school felt great, until one day, Mom called me with some surprising news.
Honey, Luisa will be joining your school. She got expelled from her fancy private school because she was bullying kids.
But Mom, she won't fit in at my school.
No other school will accept her. Please look out for her and show her around. Maybe she can learn something from you.
The next day, Luisa walked into my school wearing a pink fluffy coat and black shades. Just as she approached me, a group of girls snuck up behind her and spray-painted her coat.
What is wrong with you fools? This is Dolce & Gabbana. Oh my gosh, you ruined it.
The girls went ballistic and lifted her off her feet.
What did you call us?
Put me down.
When I told the girls that she was my sister, they let her go.
What is wrong with the people in your school?
This is not one of your fancy schools, and all the newbies get spray-painted. It's tradition.
That's why I hated the idea of a public school. Poor people have no class.
She was such a snob. While I was showing Luisa around, we bumped into Maui, and he kissed me before running off to class. Luisa looked at me, stunned.
Oh my god, how did the hottest guy in school end up with you?
Why? What's wrong with me?
Everything! You're boring! You dress like a granny and you have a broken leg.
You're just a very ugly person inside and out, Luisa.
I'm going to steal him from you. Watch and see.
I wasn't threatened by my stupid sister. After school, when Maui walked me out to the gate, Luisa ran after us and slipped her number into his pocket. Before I could say anything, Maui spoke up.
Luisa, what's wrong with you? I'm with your sister, and I'm crazy about her. Please, just stay away from me.
I smiled widely as Louisa turned red. And just then, Sina came to pick me up. We had to wait till Mom came for Louisa, and she yelled on the phone at Mom for being late.
Hey, you can't speak to your mom that way!
Mind your own business, lady. You are not my stepmother.
Louisa was just out of control. I decided I was done with her. I completely ignored her for the next day at school, and during recess, she insulted some girls by calling them poor, and they all surrounded her, but I didn't run to her rescue.
Hey, aren't those girls hurting your sister?
Yes, but she can't control her awful mouth. Whatever happens to her, she deserves it.
Yeah, but she's still your sister.
Maui always had a way to make me think twice, so I stepped into the circle of girls and found my sister crying.
Moana, please tell them to bring back my bag.
Not until you promise to change your ways, especially how you speak to Mom.
I promise. Please, please save me from these mean girls.
It's not so nice when it's done to you, right? I told the girls to leave my sister alone, and then she joined me and Maui for lunch. And to my shock, she actually apologized for being a jerk.
I'm really sorry, Mona. I've always been mean to you and Mom because I always felt she loved you more. But today, when those girls were mean to me, I felt what it was like to be the weak one. I've hurt so many people already.
Well, it's never too late to change. Later that day, when my stepmom and Mom came to pick us up, Louisa apologized to both of them too. And then Sina told us some thrilling news. She was pregnant. Oh my God. What? I'm gonna be a big sister again.
That baby's lucky to have you, Moana.
And you, Louisa, will be the best big sisters ever.
Hi everyone, my name is Heron and I live in Seoul, South Korea. I was only 4 years old when I learned that something was very wrong with my mom. Other children always hug and kiss their parents. Why can't we do that, Mommy?
Don't call me that!
She turned to leave and I seized my chance. I dashed to her and embraced her tightly. Just go like this, Mommy, it's easy. She literally ran away from me.
Don't touch me! I'm wearing Chanel!
She didn't truly want anything to do with me. She used maids, butlers, and money to keep me at a distance my entire life. Initially, I believed something was wrong with me. However, my cousin Laki completely disagreed.
Heron, you're my best friend in the whole world because you are perfect. Your mom is just a witch.
I was so jealous. Laki's parents were amazing. Even though they were quite poor and lived all the way in America, they tried to visit every other year. They video called me frequently, and I loved them dearly. One day, Laki called me with some incredible news.
My dad's company just blew up overnight. We're finally gonna be rich!
That's amazing. What's even more incredible is that I can afford tickets to visit you. Ask that witch if I can stay over. I went out to talk to Mom, but she was sitting there with some strange men.
Heron, here you are. Come meet the boy I want you to date.
He what?
He owns diamond mines. Diamonds! You can date him now and get married after college.
No way! Have you gone insane?
Don't you dare insult me in front of everyone!
Don't you dare try to ruin my life. Lucky is right. You're a witch. Her guests laughed and she turned red.
You ungrateful little? Go to your room!
I did go to my room. I also called Laki and devised my first and best cunning plan. I can't take it anymore. I'm running away from home. Now that your parents are wealthy, can I live with you?
If they say no, I'll hide you in my room. Get over here!
Thankfully, Aunt and Uncle loved the idea and welcomed me there with open arms. They didn't even tell my mom and I could escape without any drama. I finally got away from my crazy mother. And the best part, I was going to live with my best friend Lucky. And I literally jumped and screamed the entire first night. On my second night, reality hit me. I was in a new country, I didn't know the language, and I was going to start at a new school. Yikes. What if everyone hates me? What if they think I look weird?
They won't! I'll translate everything for you and I'll do your hair and makeup!
She did my makeup for practice, and it made me want to cry. She literally painted my face and used tape to pull my skin back. She even put tape on my eyes so I had a crease.
See? All we need to do is dye your hair blonde like me and you'll fit right in.
I stopped her. I had gotten away from Mom to be myself and love myself. I was going to be fine in my own skin. Turns out I was more than fine. I walked into school for my first day and a boy stopped me in my tracks.
Whoa! I've never seen any girl like you. You're beautiful.
He thinks you're pretty! Oh my God!
Then the boy got down on one knee and asked me out on a date.
He's asking you out? But you just got here. You don't need to pick the first guy in line.
We ran away before we screamed with excitement. I'd never been asked out like that before. The first day was already fun, but only because Laki was by my side. Without her, everything was suddenly impossible. I didn't understand a word anyone was saying. One boy was trying to warn me about a spider on my shirt, and I didn't get it until it crawled on my face. I didn't even know how to ask the teacher if I could go to the bathroom. I just walked out of class silently and she started yelling at me. I was almost in tears before someone told her I couldn't understand her. One day, Laki was auditioning for the cheerleading squad, so I went with her for support. We were dancing together for practice when suddenly the cheer squad walked up to us.
Wow, you're an amazing dancer. Who are you?
Laki introduced me, and the girl asked me to join the cheer squad.
But what about the auditions?
No need for those. We like Heron. Tell her to join us.
Obviously, I turned them down right away. I wasn't going to snatch Laki's place. She pretended it didn't bother her, but I know that it did. At home, Aunt and Uncle were trying way too hard to be nice to me. They asked me endless questions, and they kept buying me over-the-top gifts. Uncle even bought me a car.
You gave Heron a car before me?
We can get you a car too, sweetie.
You should have thought of me first.
Lakey stormed away and locked herself in her room. I had to slip like 50 apology notes under her door to get her to come out. They just feel bad for me because of my terrible mom. Come on, don't be upset. She came around and I thought things would get better. Until one day when Derek, the cutest guy in school, walked up to us at lunch.
Oh my god, I have such a huge crush on Derek.
Have you told him that?
I dropped major hints the last time we were in class. Maybe he's finally gonna ask me out.
We squealed in delight till he came within earshot. Then Derek walked right past Lakey and stood in front of me.
Wow, you're really cute. I've never seen you here before. Are you new?
I had no idea what he said, but Laki turned white as a ghost. Derek started saying more things I couldn't understand, and then he just patted my head and left. What was that?
He asked me out on a date.
You? But I feel like he was talking to me?
He was just being shy. He said he wants to take me out to dinner.
Oh, wow! That's amazing! I jumped, but Laki didn't join me. In fact, she started acting so weird she refused to sit with me at lunch anymore. And she started walking home from school alone. When she went out for a date with Derek, she told some random girl at school all about it instead of me. I barged into their conversation and pulled her away. What's wrong with you? Why are you ignoring me?
Why can't we have our separate lives?
Laki, you're my best friend. I want to be with you.
So I can keep being your translator all the time. I love you. But Heron, I need some space from you right now. Just be on your own.
Fine. I don't need you either. Just watch me. I joined online classes for English and started taking a book of translations with me everywhere. I was going to learn this language and yell at Laki in English for being such a jerk. I got better fast. English wasn't as hard as it looked. I could even hold decent conversations on my own. And I made a few friends. We were in the cafeteria one day when Derek walked up to me. He had flowers in his hands and his friend from the band was playing the flute. What?
Heron, I know you didn't want to go out with me then, but I can't stop thinking about you. Will you give me a chance?
What are you talking about? You wanted to go out with me?
I asked you out that day, remember? Laki said you didn't want to go, so she came on our date instead.
She what? I stared at Laki with my jaw loose. She was already in tears.
Okay, fine. Derek asked you out, not me. Happy? I was jealous, so I lied and I went to see him.
Are you serious? You're such a freak. What's wrong with you?
Hey, don't talk to her like that.
We missed our date because of this pathetic loser. Jeez, how desperate can you get?
I just lost it. I flew forward and punched Derek right in the face. It was a total blur, and suddenly I was at the principal's office. Derek had an ice pack on his bleeding nose, and my aunt and uncle were getting screamed at. I got suspended from school for a whole week. Laki and I had the biggest fight ever at home. I would never date someone you had a crush on. How could you be so mean to me over some stupid boy?
It's not about the boy. Ever since you came here, you've just taken over my friends, the cheer squad, the guy I like. You're getting everything. Even my own parents like you better than me.
Lakey, don't say that. You're sisters.
We're cousins. I'm your daughter. But all you want to do is talk to Heron and buy her crazy presents, when I never got treated that way.
We're just trying to make up for past mistakes.
What mistakes?
That was when my aunt told us her final. Laki and I were non-identical twins. They were my parents. I sat there in shock while my aunt explained how poor they were when we were born and how they had to give me away to her rich sister. Why did you keep Laki? Why not me?
You were having a lot of medical issues as a baby. We couldn't manage the bills. I thought my sister would take better care of you.
I see. I thought I had one mother who didn't want me. Turns out I had 3 parents and none of them wanted me.
Heron, it's not like that!
I got up and ran to my room. I started packing my things through a haze of tears.
Heron, no, please don't leave. I'm so sorry.
You abandoned me with a monster. You waited 17 years to tell me the truth. Don't pretend you care. I stormed out and didn't look back. Once I was done trusting my family, my heart was broken. I sold the car Uncle gave me and used the money to rent an apartment. Got a job and focused on my studies. I turned my heart to stone. So when Lucky tried to apologize to me 100 times, she always failed. I did miss her a lot, especially during the special moments of my life. When I got into the college of my choice. When I got my first job. On the day of my wedding, I almost called her twice. Lucky had become a huge influencer with millions of followers. She was only a DM away, but I felt too guilty for not making up earlier. My husband and I went hiking in a national park for our honeymoon when suddenly a crazy storm hit us and I got separated from the hiking group. I shouted till I lost my voice, but no one heard me. I walked and walked until I realized I was just moving in circles. I'm not giving up. You can't have me, Forrest. I was lost in that jungle for 3 days and 3 nights. I hid in caves when it rained, and I only survived because of the water and food in my backpack. On the 3rd night, I was about to go to sleep when I suddenly heard people shouting my name. Thank God. I raced out of my cave to see hundreds of people walking in the forest with torches, and the person who was running towards me, screaming her head off, was Lucky. No way, Lucky!
I found you! I found you!
Lucky and I hugged each other so hard, we fell to the ground.
I'm so happy you're okay. Oh, thank God.
How are you here? Who else was gonna find you? My followers work way faster than the police.
I burst into tears and hugged my sister tight. Lucky, I don't know what I would have done without you. I'm so sorry.
Don't you dare say sorry to me. You were the one who got left with that witch. I was all you had, and I was so terrible to you. Just forget everything that's happened before this, today. You saved my life, and I'll love you forever for it. I love you too.
Oh, I've missed you so much. Just then, Mom saw me and she broke down crying.
Heron, you're safe. I thought I'd lost you forever. I'm so sorry, Heron. I'm sorry I gave you away. My baby girl. I just thought I couldn't take care of you. I loved you too much. And if something happened to you just because I couldn't afford the medical care, I would've...
You did your best, Mom. I know you did.
Didn't you just say Mom?
Yes, Mom.
Oh my God.
My mom hugged me again, and Dad joined in seconds later. We cried and laughed together, and my family was finally whole. Hi, my name is Serafina. Before we jump into today's story, please like and subscribe to Luna Avatar. My first memory of Mom is her voice singing lullabies to me every night. It was the most beautiful sound in the world. Mainly because the moment she stopped, I'd start screaming again. By the time I was 16 months old, I could hum every lullaby perfectly. My dad, a piano genius, taught me beautiful notes and how to put them together, and I was totally obsessed with it. On Dad's 30th birthday, there was a grand celebration at our mansion. Right after everyone started toasting, I climbed up on a table and began singing the birthday song. Suddenly, the whole room went silent, ready to take in my first performance.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
When I finished, I realized my voice could make a grown man cry.
Oh my God, that's exactly the voice of an angel.
I always had a feeling Serafina was gifted. I'm so proud of you, darling.
Right after that, my parents hired the best musicians in the city to coach me in vocals and music theory. At every party my parents and their friends hosted, they'd invite me to perform, and they even paid me for it. My life was perfect. Until one day, everything changed. When I was in the 2nd grade, my dad had just returned from meeting with some partners overseas. I froze when I saw a little girl with sad eyes, holding a stuffed bunny, step out of the car too. She was trying to hide behind Dad, but he gently pushed her forward.
This is Annabelle, Serafina. She's your sister, and she'll be living with our family now. Will you take care of her?
I looked into her scared, dark eyes and immediately took her hand. Always! But from the moment Annabelle showed up, a dark shadow, like the dress she wore, was cast over our happy home. It started with a huge fight between my parents that evening, and both of us overheard it.
You've broken my heart. She reminds me of my worst nightmare, and I have to see it every day. She can't stay here. I won't raise a child that isn't mine.
She has nowhere to go. Her mother's gone, I know you hate me right now, but please don't take it out on her. She's just a kid.
I didn't want Annabelle to hear this, so I said, "Come on, I'll play something for you. What's your favorite song?" I didn't fully understand what was happening, but one thing was clear. Mom hated Annabelle. She ignored her like there wasn't any child in the house besides me. But my dad and I were different. We adored her. Maybe it was because I could see the sadness and loneliness in my sister's eyes. And we more than made up for Mom's ice-cold attitude. But in the 8th grade, we got news one day that made our whole world come crashing down. Dad had been in a terrible car accident, and he was gone. We were all devastated, but Mom just shut herself up in her room for weeks. One night, while I was reading a Snow White story to Annabelle, Mom suddenly burst into the room and started yelling.
What are you doing in my daughter's room? You're just a poor maid.
Mom, are you okay? She's not a maid, this is Annabelle, remember?
Yes, Annabelle. How could I forget her? Everything got worse when she showed up. No, everything is exactly her fault.
I stared in horror at Mom as Annabelle started to cry.
Pack your things first thing in the morning, Annabelle. Are you planning to sleep with this filthy maid tonight?
What? No, she's not going anywhere. Dad said she's my sister.
Either she goes to the maids or the orphanage. This is her last night here.
As Mom was leaving, she suddenly pounced at Isabel, grabbed her stuffed bunny, and threw it in the fire.
No, my mom made that!
Annabelle cried for hours and I hugged her to sleep. What had happened to my mom? The very next day, Annabelle had to move to the maids' quarters despite my strong protests. She was still allowed to go to school, but she had to do house chores in her free time. I was scared she'd be sent away, so I stopped fighting with Mom, but I'd sneak food to her and help her with her homework at night. At school, we could always hang out together. But one day, I started trembling when I saw my mom show up at school, heading straight to the principal's office. Oh my God! Maybe my worst fear was about to come true. Mom, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm here to withdraw Annabelle from school, of course.
You can't do that! She has to go to school!
Why? She's never going to be anything but a maid like her stupid mother. Education is a complete waste on someone whose future is just sweeping floors and cleaning rooms.
As she turned around, I grabbed Mom's wrist. If you make her drop out of school, I will too, and I'll tell everyone why. Are you sure you want everyone to know how you really treat Annabelle? Mom, Dad would be so disappointed in you. Mom looked shocked, then angrily pulled her arm away and left I'd won this little battle. But God knows what she'd do next. Things weren't great at home, but at least I had Eric. He was my boyfriend for 2 years and was just crazy about my voice one evening when I was on a date with him. I suddenly started getting calls from Annabelle.
Come home right now, Serafina!
I ran home to a scene of complete chaos. Mom was tearing apart Annabelle's room. What's going on?
Your dad's watch is missing, and I'm going to search all the maids' rooms, and when I find it, I'm kicking out the thief for good.
Just then, a servant came from another room saying it was under Mom's personal maid's bed. Mom looked completely shocked to find out it was her, but she threw her bags out instantly. Some days later, it was Annabelle's 13th birthday, and I snuck into her room with a cake when she blew the candles out. I asked her what she'd wished for.
I wished your mom was dead!
Annabelle, you don't mean that? She's my mom. Annabelle stayed silent, and I got up to leave. I'd never seen that look of hatred on my little sister's face before. In the middle of all this drama, I had a huge audition coming up. A prestigious music academy was looking for talent from different schools, and being selected would be a dream. But 5 days before the audition, I woke up with my throat hurting. I called out to the maid, but to my horror, my voice was gone. Mom rushed me to the doctor who diagnosed me with laryngitis. What he said next left me shocked.
Your voice will return to normal soon, but this is the end of your singing. If you strain your vocal cords too much, you could lose your voice permanently.
I just couldn't believe it. On the day of the auditions, I slipped into the auditorium with Eric, feeling devastated. I wanted to be up on that stage more than anything. And then one of the judges said,
"The last performer is Miss Annabelle."
Wait, what? Annabelle stepped onto the stage and started singing.
Don't know what you wanna achieve, but make a
I was stunned. Her voice was beautiful. The judges gave her a standing ovation and said they'd be in touch with her. Soon as everyone started to leave, I caught up with her. Annabelle, that was amazing. But why didn't you tell me you could ever sing like that? She brushed my arm off angrily, her eyes blazing.
You never asked. You just assume that you're the only one with any talent. But I guess that's something we both got from our father. It makes you unhappy, doesn't it?
Why would you say that? I've always had your back, Annabelle.
Yet I've been living as a maid in my dad's house for years, and you did nothing! You think sneaking me food makes up for how I'm treated? No, it doesn't! All it does is make you feel good about yourself.
Annabelle, I tried.
Oh, nice try. I hate you, Serafina!
As she stormed off, I felt heartbroken. As Eric walked me back home that evening, suddenly, a skateboarder came charging straight at him. I pushed Eric out of the way just in time, but he landed on the pavement, hitting his head. I quickly called an ambulance, and after hours of waiting at the hospital, we were shocked to get the news Eric was in a coma. The doctors were hopeful he'd wake up soon, but weeks turned into months, and before I knew it, a year had passed. I was almost done with high school, and Annabelle was in her music academy on full scholarship, but we never spoke anymore. One day when I went to see Eric, I was shocked to see him sitting up in bed.
Oh my God, you're awake!
He gently pushed me away.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Eric, it's me, Serafina, your girlfriend!
Can you sing?
Yes, well, I used to, but then I got sick and had to stop, remember?
No! I just know that my girlfriend sings beautifully. I couldn't move or see all these months, but she'd talk and sing to me often, and I could hear her. I know her voice, and it's not you.
Suddenly, my blood ran cold when I heard someone behind me.
Babe, that was me. You could hear me?
Annabelle?
Yes, it's you!
She ran forward and hugged him, and then they kissed. Suddenly, I just lost it. I pulled Annabelle by her hair. Are you completely crazy? You've been visiting my boyfriend and singing to him. Tell him you're lying.
I am not. He's mine. Let me go, witch.
And suddenly she pushed me viciously and I went flying into a trolley. I attacked her and we went crashing straight into the machines. And the next thing we knew, we were both thrown out of the hospital. I turned furiously to Annabelle. We're done for good. You become a hateful monster. I don't even know who you are anymore. But you're definitely not my sister.
Finally!
And with that, she left. I went on a very long walk to clear my head. And by the time I got home, Annabelle was gone. The next morning, Mom discovered a lot of things were gone too, including Dad's watch.
Heck! I'm going to report her to the police. I'm going to.
Mom, just stop it. She's gone. That's what you wanted since you first saw her, right? And so what if she took Dad's stuff? It's hers too. Let it freaking go. A year later, I went off to university to study music. If I couldn't sing anymore, I could still play in my final year. I was leaving the campus one day when I stepped on a newspaper. It had Eric and Annabelle's face on the front page with the headline "Billionaire to tie knot in 2 weeks." Well, good for them. But just a few days later, I walked into a coffee shop. And to my shock, I saw Eric there. And he was kissing a blonde girl. That definitely wasn't Annabelle. I just walked away. It wasn't my problem. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. And when her wedding day arrived, I just could not do anything. Even if she hated me. She was my freaking little sister. And that's how I found myself bursting into the church and running like crazy down the aisle. Hold it! This wedding can't happen! As Annabelle turned to look at me in horror, I ran straight at her and hugged her. I held onto her tight as she squirmed and shrieked.
Oh my God, you psycho! Get off me!
I love you, Annabelle! I'm not going anywhere till you listen to me! As Eric looked super mad and everyone stared at us, she dragged me off to a small room.
What do you think you're doing, Serafina?
Annabelle, you can't marry Eric. He's a cheater. I saw him kissing a girl the other day. I swear I'm not lying.
Think I don't know about that? Well, I do, and it doesn't matter. I stole your man, and hell take care of me. At least I got rid of you and your psycho mom, so just buzz off.
Annabelle, listen to me. You're just angry right now. I'm so sorry about everything. Mom was unbelievably cruel to you, and I should have fought harder. You deserved so much better, and you still do. Don't marry this jerk, please.
Why do you care?
Because you're my little sister, and I miss you so much. I had 2 things that I loved the most. My voice and you. I lost my voice for good, and I don't want to lose you too. Please forgive me and come with me.
Oh, Serafina, I'm so sorry for all the horrible things I did to you. I thought I wanted to marry Eric too, tease you. But I now realize that everything I've been doing in my life was to not end up alone. I just wanted to belong to someone.
You belong to me. You're my family. I made a promise to Dad to take care of you. And I will, always. And with that, we hugged each other and walked back to our home. Family always comes first. Hi, I'm Melody from New York. Please like and subscribe. I lived with my amazing single mom, who had a tough time raising me on her own. As I grew older, I was determined to work hard and give her a good life one day. I got into a great high school on full scholarship and helped her out by waitressing on weekends. One evening, I was dashing like crazy at the subway station. I was so late for my shift. Suddenly, I bumped straight into someone, but I just shouted an apology and ran off to my train. Just as I was about to get on, someone gently took my hand. I turned around to see the most gorgeous boy ever.
Hey, you dropped this!
He placed something in my hand and I gasped. It was my bracelet. Thank you so much. I would have been devastated if I had lost this. I'm so glad I found you. No, you found me. I mean the bracelet. His smile went all the way up to his warm brown eyes.
You're welcome. Do you think we could maybe?
Just then, the door started closing and I shouted, "Sorry, gotta go!" As the train pulled away, I felt like such an idiot. I didn't even ask for his name. For the next couple of months, I kept hoping I'd bump into him on the way to work, but no such luck. Summer break was over, and I was really looking forward to seeing my best friend, Stella, who'd been away on vacation. We hugged excitedly, and she put her arm through mine as we walked to class.
There's so much I have to tell you. But first, did you ever find the train guy again?
No, it sounds stupid, Stella, but we had an instant connection. He almost asked me out, and now he just disappeared.
Melody, we'll hunt the whole city down till we find him. Now come on, let me introduce you to my new boyfriend, Levi.
She walked up to a tall guy, and when he turned around, my heart almost stopped. It was the freaking train guy. He didn't seem to recognize me as Stella introduced us, telling me how their dads were friends and they'd met on vacation. His family had recently moved to our town, so he'd joined our school. Now, of all the guys in the world, Stella had to meet him. The first class we had that day was English literature, and to my dismay, the teacher chose me and Levi to read out something from Shakespeare. I picked out a scene from Romeo and Juliet, but Levi muttered loudly,
Geez, kill me now.
"What, you don't like it?"
No, it's a story about two people who were so dumb I was happy when they died. It's so lame.
Oh, is that your expert opinion as a world-famous writer?
No, it's my expert opinion as someone with good taste. It's not romantic, it's stupid.
Dying for love is stupid?
The dumbest!
You have the emotional depth of a teaspoon.
At least I have a brain. But fine, you want me to be stupid, Romeo? I'll do it.
No, I don't want to now! I pulled the book away from him as he held on to it tight, and suddenly we both fell down, ripping it in half. Everyone was staring at us, and the teacher told us to go back to our seats. Ugh, this guy was so annoying. It wasn't a great start, but because of Stella, we both made an effort to be nicer. And I wanted to hate him, but I really couldn't. He was smart, funny, sweet. He was kind of perfect for Stella? Of course. Some months later, we had a big calculus assignment to work on. But when I went to the library, only Levi was there. He told me Stella wasn't feeling well, and I sat down awkwardly. As we got busy working, I suddenly noticed Levi looking at my notebook.
You're doing it the wrong way.
My answer's the same as yours.
But why use such a long method when there's a shortcut?
Because shortcuts lead to mistakes. He pulled his chair closer and started scribbling away. I could hardly focus. Gosh, he smelled so good.
There, done.
Okay, you're a genius. I'm calling it a day. I gathered my stuff and started to leave, but he followed me.
Have I offended you? Why does it always seem like you're mad at me?
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
Just tell me, Melody. Why are you angry at me?
Suddenly, the words just came spilling out. Because you didn't remember me.
Wait, what?
Nothing. It's nothing. I'll see you around. And with that, I ran off. Why did I have to say such a dumb thing? A few weeks later, we had the spring dance at school, and I accepted when a boy from class, Eric, asked me to go with him. I was actually having a pretty good time. And when I stopped to rest, Stella and Levi joined me.
That Eric seems like great boyfriend material, Melody.
Yeah, I guess he's nice.
But you're still hoping to find the train guy, right?
Oh my god, Stella, please, shut up.
Train guy?
Oh yeah, babe. This guy found Melody's bracelet at the train station, and they had this, electric romantic moment. But Melody laughed and never saw him again. She even tried looking for him, but nothing.
I just wanted to magically disappear from the most humiliating moment of my life. Eric came just then and whisked me off to the dance floor. The next day, I was just really distracted at work. I broke 2 glasses, knocked over a jug of water, and then I bumped into a waiter, sending food flying everywhere. I was pretty sure I'd be fired, but that night got even worse when I suddenly noticed my bracelet was gone. I broke down into tears, and the staff helped me look all around the kitchen. The manager even let me stay back and search the restaurant once the customers were gone, but I didn't find it anywhere. Feeling crushed, I finally left and walked straight into someone outside.
Hey, what's wrong?
My bracelet, it's gone! It's the last birthday gift my dad gave me! Levi pulled me into a hug and I buried my face in his shoulder. A minute later, he spoke.
A Melody? You mean this bracelet?
I stepped back to see him taking off the bracelet stuck to my coat. Gosh, I feel so stupid. Thank you, once again. And suddenly last evening came rushing back to me. Listen, I did tell Stella I met some guy, and I thought maybe we had something, but I was wrong. I've only ever thought of you as a friend since we met in school, and I don't like you that way, okay?
Well, that's disappointing.
Wait, what?
I would have looked for you myself, but I left town the next day. And when I saw you in school, I did remember you. Melody, I didn't say anything because what was the point? I'm with Stella, and I've tried so hard not to like you that way either, but it's not working.
He pulled me closer, and my heart was pounding. He leaned in to kiss me, but I snapped back to my senses. No, I can't do this to Stella! Please don't follow me! And with that, I ran. How could I even come this close? I really wasn't looking forward to seeing Levi in school, but I found his seat empty. Stella told me his dad was unwell, and Levi had to go back to his hometown to take care of business. I thought he'd be back soon. But days turned into weeks and then months. The school year ended, and one day during summer break, Stella called me to tell me she and Levi had broken up.
What? Why?
The long-distance relationship made us realize we weren't that good together. I'm sure we can still be good friends, but that's all we'll be now.
I hardly knew what to say. I wanted to call him and ask him how he was doing, but I decided against it. A few weeks later at the restaurant, I walked over to a table to take someone's order, and I nearly fell back when I saw Levi sitting there. Levi, you're back. It's been so long.
Well, I'm here now. I guess you heard about me and Stella.
Yeah, sorry it didn't work out.
It was the right thing for both of us. Melody, do you think that maybe...
Just then, Eric walked in and kissed me on the cheek.
Babe, is your shift almost over? Oh, hey man, you're back.
Levi tried to hide his shock as he realized I was dating Eric now. He'd asked me out a week after the dance. Suddenly, he got up to leave.
I just remembered something important. I'll see you guys in school.
Gosh, we really had the worst timing. Some weeks later, on my 16th birthday, Eric turned up in a limo to take me to dinner. But when we got to this fancy restaurant, I was shocked to see my entire class there. It looked like he booked the whole place. But to top that, Eric jumped onto a chair, suddenly holding a mic.
Happy birthday to the most amazing girl. To show you how much you mean to me, I'm gonna embarrass myself now with this song I wrote for you.
He started singing and I couldn't stop laughing. He was ridiculous. Just then the mic suddenly died, and everyone heard Levi saying,
"What a loser."
There was a pin-drop silence as everyone turned to him, and Eric was furious.
Dude, is there a problem?
Yeah, just one thing. I don't understand what Melody sees in you.
God, he was so rude. Before I could tell him off, Eric leapt forward and grabbed him by his collar. Levi pushed him back, and he ended up falling in the cake. He attacked Levi again, and they both went crashing into another table. Oh my God, stop it! Levi, what's wrong with you? I pulled him outside.
Your boyfriend attacked me first.
You deserved it. What's your problem with Eric?
He's so annoying and lame, but I guess you like that he's your Romeo.
I like him because he's sweet and caring.
And really rich.
I suddenly slapped him hard. Did you just call me a gold digger? Gosh, you're being such a jerk!
Wait, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, and I don't hate Eric. I just hate that I missed my chance with you again. I wished every day I followed you on that train and things could be different.
Oh, so what was I in the middle of all this? A mistake?
We turned around in horror to see Stella behind us.
So you did find your train guy, Melody, and all this time we were together, you two were in love. Were you secretly making out?
No, Stella, of course not.
Why should I believe you? You lied to my face for so long.
I tried to stop her from leaving, but she pushed me to the ground.
I'm done with both of you.
She stormed off furiously, and I just went back inside. This was a nightmare. The next few weeks were awful. Stella refused to talk to me. I refused to talk to Levi, and everything was a mess. Then Stella didn't come to school for a couple of days, and I began to feel worried. I finally asked the teacher, and she told me Stella and her sister had been in an accident. Oh my God! I went straight to the hospital and found Stella in the waiting area. I rushed forward and hugged her tight, and she hugged me back.
I'm okay, but my sister's in surgery. I'm just so glad you're here, Melody.
I held her hand through it, and we were so relieved when the doctors told us she was going to be okay. We took a walk outside, and Stella turned to me.
Melody, how could you be so stupid? Why didn't you tell me Levi was the guy?
You would have hated me even if I had, Stella. And it doesn't matter now. I'm with Eric.
Just listen to yourself, dummy. You're with Eric, but you're not in love with Eric.
I just ignored her. I wasn't hurting Eric now. I'd messed up things enough. A few weeks later, Eric was having a Christmas party at his place. When I came down all dressed up, Mom said a package had arrived for me. I opened it and gasped. There was a beautiful pair of earrings inside that perfectly matched my bracelet. A note fell out.
This was supposed to be your birthday present. I'm really sorry for everything, Melody. I'm leaving tonight, and I'll be transferring back to my old school. I hope you and Stella patch things up.
Levi. What? I couldn't believe he was leaving for good. I went to the party with a heavy heart, and there I had another surprise waiting. Eric immediately pulled me into a room and popped out a freaking diamond ring. What are you doing?
Melody, let's just get engaged. My family would be so pleased if we announced it tonight. We won't get married right away, of course, but...
Eric, please stop! I can't! He looked at me in shock.
Because of Levi, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. I don't want to be engaged. I don't want my life planned out for me. You're a great guy, but I'm not ready for this. I'm sorry. He quietly kissed me on the cheek and just left, and I immediately called an Uber to the train station. I looked around frantically for Levi, and just then, I saw him climbing onto the train. As I hopped on after him and took his hand, he turned around in shock.
Melody, what are you doing here?
Taking a train ride with you. Also, I broke up with Eric. We're both single now. So what do you want to do about it? He smiled like the first time I saw him.
Do you think we could maybe get dinner sometime?
Finally, yes! And he pulled me in for a kiss.
I wanna get too close, gonna get it right now. I wanna push all the limits with you right now.
Hi there! My name is Augie, and I was just 3 years old when my mom left my dad. He was a major jerk, and she was so much happier without him. The only problem was that we were broke. My mom worked 2 jobs at once, but that wasn't enough for school, clothes, books, rent. The list was endless. I wanted to help my mom so badly that when I was 6, I tried to get a job at McDonald's. All the adults laughed at my application form. It was filled out with crayon. I was so mad. I wanted to be a grown-up. When Mom found out, she said,
Augie, the best way to help me is by doing well at school. You don't need to get a job. You're so cute.
From that day, I started paying really close attention at school. I worked hard at getting the best grades, and by the time I was 12, I was topping the district. That's how I got into the richest, snobbiest school in town. They found me and offered me a full scholarship if I transferred right away. I didn't want to leave my friends, but free school was too much to give up, so I started going to the rich side of town. Everything was different here. The roads were cleaner, the houses were bigger, and the people were meaner. The meanest of them all was Jack. His father owned the school, and he did whatever he liked. My first day, I saw him push a kid off his bike for no reason. Hey, stop that! I rushed to help the kid up and told Jack to back off.
You must be new. Do you have any idea who I am?
A massive jerk! The people watching laughed, and Jack turned beet red.
I'm your worst nightmare.
He meant it. He tried to bully me every single day for 4 years. He called me names, stole my books, and spread false rumors about me. One day, he pulled the fire alarm and told the teacher I did it. Obviously, they believed him over me. I got a whole week of detention. Didn't have time for this mess. I had to study hard all day. And now that I was older, I helped my mom by doing a job at night. We were so poor compared to everyone at school, and I did my best to hide it. I lied to everyone when they asked me what my parents do. They sell computers. They're super rich. I made sure I got the best clothes from the donation boxes in town and checked them for any imperfection. One time, I missed a tear on my coat, and Jack caught it right away.
Torn clothes? How pathetic. Are you too poor to afford basic things?
No one laughed with him. You see, other people in school really started to like me over the years. I was funny, friendly, and I didn't bully them. Jack hated this. To top it all off, I beat his grades every single time. The day the school was honoring its toppers, all hell broke loose.
This loser cannot win first place. He's a cheater.
Excuse me, I beat you fair and square. Jack ran over to me and tried to yank my medal off my neck.
Give it to me. Give it.
No! I shoved Jack away from me, and he fell back. Everyone laughed, and he began to yell loudly.
Ah, he hurt me. I sprained my leg.
He was good at putting on a show. The teachers dragged us to the principal's office, and I got the worst yelling of my life.
I want him out of this school, Dad!
Augie is our best student. We can't get rid of him.
How dare you hit my son?
Jack attacked me first.
So what? You should never hit back. You hurt him.
He's faking it. He just wants me to get into trouble.
You're both in trouble. 1 whole week of detention, and you both have to show the new students around the school.
Our school was huge, and new people had to have guides for their first week. I really didn't want to babysit with Jack, but I had no choice. We both met the new student the next day, and wow, she was stunning. She had the most beautiful brown eyes I've ever seen. The moment Jack saw her, he turned to me.
You can go. I can help her alone. I won't tell the teachers.
No way, you're a snake.
Look, that's Nancy. I've known her since we were kids, and her dad is even richer than mine. I want to date her, so just go away.
Obviously, I didn't go away. Instead, I raced up to Nancy first and gave her my best smile. I never really flirted with a girl before, but I gave it my best shot. Hi, I'm Augie. You're cute. Do you like tacos?
Yes, I love tacos.
Would you like to eat some with me after school?
Okay, why not? You're pretty cute, too.
Jack literally jumped in between us.
Nancy, remember me? Jack, our dads are in the same country club.
Kind of.
Do you want to go with me tonight? I'll take you somewhere fancy.
Sorry, I'm getting tacos with Augie today.
His expression was priceless. That's what he gets for messing with me. Nancy and I went out, and I had a surprisingly good time. She was so goofy and hilarious. Some of her jokes made me choke with laughter. Wow, I'm actually having fun. I'm glad I messed with Jack.
What?
Oh, Jack has a crush on you, and he's been kind of a jerk to me, so I asked you out first.
What? I thought you thought I was cute.
Uh-oh, I do think you're cute, but...
But what? I'm just a pawn in your boy games. You just used me to mess with someone. You're a jerk.
She threw her taco at me and ran away. I quickly paid the taco guy and chased after her, but she was gone. Dang it! Jack was turning me into a terrible person. I tried to apologize to Nancy the next day, but she wouldn't even look at me. I almost gave up. Until one day when we ended up in the same elevator together. I acted on instinct. I pressed the stop button.
What are you doing?
I want to apologize, but you keep running away.
Don't bother. I'm never going to go out with you again.
I don't want you to go out with me. I'm just sorry. I acted like a complete idiot, and you have every right to hate me. She looked shocked.
Really? You mean that?
Yes, I'm really sorry I was so stupid.
Agreed. You'll have to buy me, like, 100 tacos to make up for it.
Does that mean we can be friends?
Yeah, okay, I forgive you.
Yes! All 100 tacos were worth it because Nancy was amazing. She was kind, funny, and most importantly, she was a really good friend. She was always there to help her friends with their troubles, and I felt like I could tell her almost anything. Almost. One day, Nancy asked me what my parents did for a living, and I felt real fear. If she finds out I'm poor, she won't like me. I lied quickly, hoping this would go away. But one day, Nancy wanted to walk me home, and I was trapped. I had to take her to a random mansion and pretend it was mine. I went inside and hid in the bushes till she went away. If that wasn't crazy enough, one night, she walked into the restaurant where I worked. The moment I saw her, I ducked and hid under a table. The manager called for me like 10 times, but I just couldn't make myself get out. Why was I going so crazy over this girl? Suddenly, 3 pairs of legs joined me under the table. My manager had seated women there. I immediately crawled out of the table, and all 3 women screamed, sending their food flying all over the floor. My manager caught me by the collar and fired me on the spot. If I wasn't horrified enough, I turned to see Nancy staring at me with her mouth open. Oh no, I just ran home. By the time Nancy confronted me in school, I had a lie ready for her. I got that job so I could learn some responsibility. It's not good to just live off my parents.
But why were you under the table?
I dropped my phone. I was looking for it. Somehow the lie worked, and Nancy gave me a big hug to comfort me. I was close. I was heading home from school that day when I felt someone pull me back. It was Jack!
Why were you hugging Nancy at school?
None of your business, moron!
Didn't I tell you I like her? You better back off before I make you pay.
Make me pay? Your dad can't kick me out of school. You have no power here. I stormed away from him with my head held high, thinking I had won this battle. I had no idea how far Jack would go for a shot at Nancy. She and I were having lunch in the cafeteria one day when Jack came over with his gang.
Hey, Augie, your parents are rich, right?
Yes, they sell computers.
Then why are you wearing clothes that I threw in the garbage?
I was in shock. Jack pulled out his phone and played a video for everyone. It was me searching for clothes in the donation bins.
We saw you hunting for clothes like a cheap beggar. We followed you, and you live in a tiny apartment on the bad side of town.
Everyone around me was whispering. I couldn't even bear to look up at Nancy. My secret was finally out.
So what do your parents really do? Do they even have a job, or are they pathetic like you?
I couldn't take it anymore. I got off my feet and punched Jack right in the face in front of everyone. I just lost it.
Ah, I'm reporting you to my dad. Everyone saw that, right? He punched me.
I was suspended for 2 weeks after that, which was just fine with me. Felt like my life was over. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to study. And I didn't want to see anyone. I turned my phone off so none of my friends could reach me. I was locked in my room for a whole week until one day, there was a knock on my door. Nancy was here. She saw me in my tiny apartment. I was wearing old, faded hand-me-downs. What are you doing here? How did you find me?
I can track people. Why didn't you answer my calls? I was worried.
Maybe I'm embarrassed and I want to be alone.
You shouldn't be embarrassed for being poor. You should be embarrassed for lying to me about it.
Oh, I should have told you the truth. That my mom's a waitress and a janitor. That my dad abandoned us and we live like beggars. Which part makes you want to go out with me? She looked shell-shocked.
Wait, you want to go out with me?
I never said that. Just leave me alone, Nancy. I went into my room and slammed the door shut. I wanted to be anyone else except me right now. It got so much worse when I opened Instagram and saw pictures of Jack and Nancy together. I guess she found someone who can take care of her the way she deserved. I was in the worst mood of my life when I started school again. Nancy tried to talk to me a few times, but I just ran away from her. I thought I could just avoid her forever. Until one day we ended up on the same elevator alone. She punched the stop button, and the elevator came to a halt.
How long are you going to ignore me, Augie? You are driving me crazy.
I don't want to talk to you about my lies. Don't want to hear about your dates with Jack.
We're not dating, you idiot. I only clicked those selfies because he literally begged me. I like you.
It took me a few seconds to get that. You like me?
Are you blind? I've liked you since the first day we met.
It doesn't matter. We can't be together. Nancy, I'm poorer than your gardeners. I have nothing to offer you.
You have everything to offer me. You're a good friend. You're an amazing son. You're clever and you're handsome.
I was speechless. Nancy grabbed my collar and gave me a full peck on the lips.
Hi, cuties. I'm Emma. Get ready to dive into the wild drama of my life, a real-life soap opera that even Shakespeare would have loved to write. But first, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Now we can start. You know those seemingly perfect families where the father is a cheerful, wealthy businessman and the mother is a loving housewife who does everything for her kids? Blonde, rosy-cheeked, perfect-teeth children? Yeah, me neither. Ever since I can remember in my life, it was only me and my mom, Emily. My mom loved me, but when it came to my dad, she went to great lengths to erase any trace of him, and she did a darn good job. Mom, I was wondering about my dad. What, Dad? Here, have a bag of candies. It was always like that with Mom. Have a bag of that. Or keep this stock of chocolates. Or, look, that marshmallow looks like Grandma Teresa. So instead of finding out anything about him, I just put on a lot of weight. Eventually, I stopped asking. Even my mom sensed that something was wrong with me. While the neighborhood kids played outside, I spent all my time cooped up in my room, reading books by myself. At some point, she must have thought that I needed a father figure, which was true, and decided to get one for me. Unfortunately, her dating life was so disastrous that it probably made Cupid consider early retirement for real. It was the same thing over and over again. It went like this.
Emma, please let me introduce you to insert name my new boyfriend. We love each other so much.
Of course. 2 weeks later, there we were, indulging in a second bowl of ice cream and watching Titanic with her sobbing uncontrollably on my shoulder.
Jack, take me with you. We were supposed to stay together forever.
Mom, you met him like a month ago.
The best month of my life.
But honestly, my mom had a PhD in ruining her relationships. All her boyfriends had shorter lifespans than a goldfish's memory. She would get bored of them and then find a way to sabotage the relationship. Magically, it was always their fault. Antonio, the chef, seemed like the perfect candidate. After all, who wouldn't want a dad who could cook 5-star meals? But then, can you believe it? He abandoned me all night to dine at a restaurant alone, preferring puff pastry over spending time with me. Mom, he works there. Then there was Markin. I thought a cop would keep us safe, right? But I was expecting a rose or a diamond. Instead, he gifted me a police scanner. And then there was Philip. I always dreamt of a dad who could always make us laugh. But he couldn't stay serious for 10 minutes straight. Well, today he's the world's most famous comedian. I was already giving up on the idea of having a stepfather when my mom came home one day with a new surprise. This time, though, I felt something was different, and I was right. Here, love, this is Ben. Benjamin, this is my daughter, Emma.
What a lovely fairy I see. Am I welcome into your manor, my fair maiden?
That man was not like the others. Ben looked older, with such a fine white beard and mustache, and those small round spectacles that made him look like some woodsman from old stories. In my mind, a dad had always been similar to him in appearance. Surprisingly, Ben actually became a father to me, and he really knew how to show me his love. Like that time when I got an A in mathematics, and Ben recited a poem he had written for me.
Here is the smartest of my muses, the shiniest of my lights. A new Pythagoras in disguise.
Nobody had ever appreciated me so much. Or that time, December 16th, when I came back home after a full day at school, only to find the hall full of bearded guys and Ben, in the middle of them, shouting toward me, "Surprise!"
Happy birthday to our fairy.
Those were Ben's friends from the War Games Club. I didn't expect any birthday celebration, because Mom had always forgotten it herself. But now she was there too, right in the middle of them. Could Ben have changed her so much? Ben, I have no words.
It's only my duty to make you smile, my fair maiden.
I hugged him the strongest I could and started crying like a baby. Sir Benjamin, I love you. I had finally found a father after 10 years of my life, and we were like a real happy family. It felt like a dream, and like in every dream, at a certain point, I had to wake up. A few years later, Mom started receiving strange phone calls in the middle of the night. She would pick up quietly like a thief and go to the bathroom to speak as any guilty teenager would. Once I caught her coming out of the bathroom with a suspicious smile on her face. Who was it? Oh, just some friend. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I make a living out of worrying. I knew something was wrong. The calls suddenly stopped, but the signs were still there. Why would Mom be sending herself those goofy bouquet cards decorated with plastic roses? Can't I buy nice things for myself? Not to mention the gold-sprayed aluminum bracelet I found she was wearing out of the blue, after a life of hating bracelets and necklaces. It's just part of my midlife crisis. Or the giant heart-shaped balloon we suddenly had in the main hall, glittery as a disco ball, and red as love, or hell. Wrong address. Or maybe the wind brought it here. Yeah, like I'm that dumb. Then one morning, I was sick at home, searching in my mom's bedroom for her laptop, ready to consume my eyes in yet another Harry Potter marathon. Where is it? Axio laptop. What is this? There was a letter on my mom's nightstand. Strange. I haven't seen the postman in a while.
My love, I'm like a lost sock just looking for its match.
Ew, so cheesy. When Mom got back home that night, I confronted her. How could you do this, Mom? Emma, I can explain. Ben is the only dad I have ever had, and you're betraying him. If you would only let me talk. Please. I don't want to listen to you anymore, Mom. I'm tired of you and your... Editor won't let me say the next word. But you can imagine what I mean. I wasn't going to let her ruin our relationship with Ben. I had to act fast. So the next day, I went to confront that homewrecker, getting his address from the letter. I rang the doorbell nonstop. Open up!
What the?
The man was about to blow up. But when he saw me, surprise filled his eyes.
Please come in.
That mysterious man looked like a retired rock star, or an extra from Pirates of the Caribbean. He invited me inside his great villa, which was full of instruments. Look, whoever you are, my mom's with someone else. Just leave us alone. Don't mess up our lives. I've barely found my dad, and you.
What if I told you I'm your real dad?
His words hit me like a mute button.
I was eager to meet you again, but your mom thought you weren't ready.
Of course, he could have been lying, but somehow I knew he wasn't. My father disappeared when I was a child.
Emma, I'm really sorry things got messed up between your mom and me back then, but I'm here now, and I want to be part of your life.
I was left completely speechless. My mom soon joined us. Mom looked truly happy after all those years. She told me she hadn't connected with anyone else because she wasn't over Dad and only wished for him to stay with us. Of course, I was thrilled about having my real dad with me again. But then a sudden doubt fell upon me like a spaceship out of fuel. But Ben! He already knows everything, and he still wants to be a part of your life. We can be a big family. So just like that, I went from having no dad to having two. You would think it's like winning the lottery twice, but not quite. I felt overwhelmed and with a great weight on me. Before, I didn't have to worry about disappointing anyone. But now I had two dads who had high expectations of me, and let's say they weren't too fond of each other.
Chris, lower the volume. Emma's studying.
Oh, just jamming out, man. Rockstar practice, you know.
Oh, wow. But I thought rock and roll had been dead for a long time.
Good music never dies. Besides, aren't you obsessed with knights and things from hundreds of years ago?
Oh, absolutely. But unlike your music, knights never go out of style.
Come on, guys. If you really think about it, rock stars and knights have a lot in common, like both loved leather and dying young. But while some wore armor and swords, the others used guitars and a lot of hairspray. That made a lot more sense in my head. Soon things went even further south. One day, they forgot to pick me up, and I had to walk home in the middle of a storm. When Ben saw me, he went mental.
Chris, you were supposed to pick her up. I asked you to do one thing as I had an urgent appointment.
Oops, I totally lost track of time making these cookies to surprise her. Come try one, honey.
As I reached for a cookie, Ben sprang into action like a movie hero, dove over the couch in slow motion, snagged it from my hand, and sent the whole tray flying.
These have peanuts. Emma's your own daughter, and you don't even know she's allergic to peanuts? Or you just don't care?
I don't even want to remember the fight that followed. Can you imagine two gunslingers in front of each other, ready to open fire at the slightest movement? Well, it was kind of like that. The constant fighting became a part of my life. I realized that this was affecting them as well. Ben looked more deteriorated and tired than ever, and my dad seemed constantly anxious, as if he was hiding a big secret. On my first Christmas with my new family, they dove into a full gift duel. The prize of it wasn't a juicy bounty, but my love.
Dear, I got you Ozzy, your new puppy.
Are you serious? I got her Lady Godiva, the most majestic kitten in town.
Oh, thank you guys. I love them both so much. Of course, getting double presents was quite fun. But soon, my new pets were casualties of the parents' war. Lady Godiva was given away to our neighbor's children by my dad after he definitely saw me sneezing with her nearby. It was mid-December, by the way. A few days later, someone shaved Ozzy completely, making him a pink bear with a black nose.
Oh, that's horrible.
Nobody ever found the mysterious culprit. Then it came. December 16th, my birthday again. My dad must have known what Ben did on my last birthday and decided it was a good idea to outdo him at his own game. So he called all of his musician friends to blast a birthday party rock serenade for me.
To my beloved daughter, you, all the people of the world, rock. This song is for you.
But then, right before the concert started, another group of people appeared. Vikings, Romans, Celts. Who knows? They were an army of guys dressed for a historic recreation, waving toy spears.
What is all this, Ben?
There is a time for peace and a time for war, Chris. Men, be ready.
Someone sounded a war horn, and my birthday soon became like the final battle of Endgame. But instead of aliens and superheroes fighting, I had cosplaying history nerds versus elderly musicians incapable of accepting the passage of time. A clash for the century. After watching the battle for a bit, I went home, all set to blow out the candles and dive into the cake. But I found my so-called perfect family in the middle of a loud argument.
What are you even doing here, man? Emma's with her real parents. She doesn't need you anymore. This whole uncle situation is bizarre.
That's true. Explaining it to people is a real pickle.
Say what you want, but I've been her father longer than you.
Well, he has a point. How about that?
Her father? A history nerd with a Willy Wonka mustache? You must be joking.
I don't think Willy Wonka has a mustache. My mother's mediation skills are truly out of this world.
Why don't we let her decide then?
Oh, no!
Yeah, she's old enough to decide who should be your dad.
No, I am not. Mom, you are my last hope. Please stop this madness. Maybe that's for the best. Thanks for nothing, Mom. So that's how it is? You're piling your responsibilities onto me. Why can't you guys understand? I want both of you in my life. But if you can't handle that, I'd rather have neither than choose between you two. I was ready to storm out, but then my dad said something really strange.
Are you happy, Ben? This was your master plan. First you found me. Then you invited me to your cosplay parties and made me realize that I should get back with Emily. Why did you do all that if you didn't want me here?
Everybody's eyes went on Ben at those words. Mine too. What was all that about?
You're absolutely right, Chris. I shouldn't be here at all. I'm really sorry, Emma.
Then Ben darted away, leaving things abruptly. What the hell is going on? I ran after Ben just in time to catch him while he was already at the park, gasping. He doesn't look too good. He fainted the very next moment. Ben! What is going on? Are you okay? Ben? We rushed him to the hospital, and a few hours later, he woke up.
I guess my plan didn't run as smoothly as it did in my mind.
Why did you do all this, Ben?
My heart is breaking, Emma. Literally, the only thing keeping it together is you. I would love to be with you forever, but the doctors made it clear it's impossible. When I found out, I immediately sought your dad and asked him to come back. I wanted someone to be there for you after me, but then when I saw you and him together, I got so jealous. I thought you'd forget me for good.
I already had tears in my eyes again. I could barely force myself to speak. Ben! I will never forget you. And you are not leaving me at all. I had no idea you did all this. Chris didn't tell me anything.
Yes, because I asked him not to. It was a secret quest, eh? Like the ancient knights did. I did it for Emily. I had to. I'm sorry for lying, but...
Cough made it impossible for Ben to go on talking. I just hugged him so hard, as if trying to protect him. A few days later, Ben came back home with us, and it was as if he and Dad were two totally different persons. They put their jealousies and fights aside and became something like best friends. Dad even helped and cared for Ben throughout his illness. One night, when they thought Mom and I were sleeping, I overheard them talk.
I will never be able to thank you enough for bringing me back to my family. What you did is just...
It's okay, Chris. You're a great man. I'm just happy you are in Emma's life. You both deserve each other.
They hugged before wishing each other good night. I went to sleep with the biggest smile I had ever worn in my entire life. Now a lot of time has passed, and a lot of things have changed. I'm not a child anymore, and my groom is in front of me, waiting for my, yes, I do. Mom and Dad are by my side, happily together and smiling at me. And even if I can't see you in the same way, Ben, I know you are here too, sitting silently between the seats of this splendid church and looking at me with your peaceful gray eyes. You are as real as the photo of you I have inside of the pearl-shaped necklace I always keep by my heart, as I have promised you. I never forgot you, Ben. All that you did for me, from your silly poems to the way you tied my shoes. You will always live with me. You'll always be my guardian angel. And I am your fair maiden,